Commander Replay, we try out our budget Boros Guildkit upgrade deck against Trostani, Wort, and Xenagos. Find out if our budget deck can hold up against these non-budget decks. Next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, I want to take a quick second to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have a new most awesome legendary Angel tier Patreon supporter in Ethan Gray. So give Ethan a big welcome. Ethan, you are awesome. If you guys want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. Welcome back everyone, playing some of our budget Aurelia Boros Guildkit upgrade. Taking a look at this opening hand. Ooh, we'll try it. This thing's a bit risky. We do have ramp in Boros Locket, but we don't yet have enough lands to cast it. We do have some card draw with Sunset Pyramid. We also have some Scry. But nothing would make me happier than to catch a land off the top. Something like Land Gift of Estates would make me very, very happy. So as I mentioned, we're playing Aurelia the War Leader, 3/4, Flying Vigilance Haste. Whenever it attacks for the first time each turn, untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So a Skull Clamp coming down for the Xenagos opponent. And today we'll be facing off against Xenagos, God of Revels, Wort the Raid Mother, and Trostani, Selesnya's Voice. Xenagos typically going to be a go big creature kind of deck. You can probably cast Xenagos, cast something else real big, and it's going to come in for a whole lot of damage. Hey, we caught a land off the top. All right. One thing I just noticed, though, is we don't have any red mana other than the Boros Locket, so need to be careful of that. But we're going to lay down this Windbrisk Heights, which is actually perfect for a turn 1 start, since we have no 1-drops that we can play at this time. Interesting choices right here. Let's think about what could be happening in this game. I think the choices are going to be between the Silverblade Paladin and the Hedge Mage. Hedge Mage is going to give us removal. 3 green opponents, probably not a ton of artifacts. Well, I guess there's a Skull Clamp that we already need to get rid of. Could be Skull Clamped. Silverblade Paladin gives us a ton of damage. The question is, do we want damage or do we want removal? That is Destroy. Destroy won't take care of Xenagos at all. We're not really known for playing a lot of enchantments. Trostani may. I think that puts me on the Hedge Mage. So we're going to go for the Hedge Mage right here and put the other 3 back on bottom. So with Trostani, I'm expecting them to run a lot of the token doublers. So having access to destroy an enchantment is probably going to be pretty important. That's a Field of Ruin for the Xenagos opponent, which means that they can shoot down our Windbrisk Heights, which would make me not super happy. By the way, all of you should stop running this card in Commander. It's fine in whatever 60-card formats you may need it for, but in Commander, each player gets a land, and that's not great. Ooh, sweet. So we draw Gift of Estates. As soon as those green decks start ramping, which they will eventually, it's going to happen, we will be able to use the Gift of Estates and get a bunch of extra lands, make sure we keep hitting all of our land drops so we can get to our big stuff. Anyway, so let's drop a Plains right here and play the Sunset Pyramid. And we'll pass the turn. Some things to think about. Wort the Raid Mother, usually able to combo out. Like turn 7, turn 8, something like that. Could be a little bit scary. Ooh, that's a Mana Flare coming down. That's a great target for this Hedge Mage to hit. Wood Elves coming down for our opponent. They'll get to find a forest. So there's that ramp we were talking about, which will make Gift of Estates active at some point. Night of Autumn coming down. I bet this is going to... Ooh. 2 good choices, actually, in the Mana Flare or the Skull Clamp. Both are pretty deadly. Mana Flare is the more immediate problem, I would say. Yeah, they're going to go for that. Okay, so that'll slow this game back down a little bit. Getting a little bit nervous about what Mana Flare might do to the tempo of this game, especially since we have some go-big kind of opponents in Xenagos and Wort. So that brings it back to our turn. We draw Tajnar. We will probably use that a bit later to find... Probably Sunforger is honestly the card that we'll probably want to go for it. So we'll play the Boros Locket. Then we will scry with the Sunset Pyramid. Ooh, it's 2 to scry. Bummer. Pass the turn. So Wort the Raid Mother just scooped. Awesome. Here comes a Growing Ranks for the Trostani opponent. They'll get to populate at the beginning of their upkeep. Yep, that's another pretty good enchantment to hit with the Hedge Mage. Opponent's going to spread the damage around. Sure. It's going to bring it back to our turn. We draw... Ooh, Crush Contraband, you say? Ooh, that's an Exile. So with Exile, we're going to want to use the Exile on Xenagos, so we're going to want to save that one. Right now, Trostani's got way more lands than we do, so, awkward with this Gift of Estates. So I think it's going to be play the Gift of Estates. Was hoping to get the Firemane Avenger down this turn, but I think we're going to have to wait. And we'll get 3 plains. Note that if you have a Sacred Foundry, Plateau, or Mistveil Plains, that you can find it with the Gift of Estates. So that's a really good thing. So we're going to play one of these plains. That's going to leave us with 2 open mana. Question is, do we want to draw or do we want to scry? We'll probably go with the draw, which we will do after our end step so that we don't have to discard to hand size. There's a Captain Lannery Storm for the Xenagos. We'll give them some additional mana production. Gonna swing into the Trostani opponent, and they get to create a treasure token. Sure. And right here, I'm gonna use the Sunset Pyramid to draw a card. Oh, actually, we had 3 mana. Well, doesn't matter either way, but... Excellent. So we draw a Spine Rock Null, which is red mana, which we do need. It'll sadly be slow red mana, but does give us additional ways in which we can look at some extra cards. It's always good. Kind of drawing into a lot of removal this game. I didn't think I actually put that much removal in the deck, but I don't know if it's just a matter of us finding all of it or what the case is, but seem to have plenty of it, at least for the time being. Here comes Trostani. Yup. Whenever another creature enters under the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness, and you can populate. It's pretty good. And they're going to put a counter on their Salt-Crusted Steppe. Trostani's actually going to be a pretty tough matchup for us because they can gain life back really easily, and we're both going to be on kind of that go-wide plan. And if we're both going wide and they're gaining all their life back, that's kind of an issue. So we may need to think about Oblivion Ring on the Trostani at some point. They haven't shown any token producers, but they've got to be close. They've got 6 mana in play. Can't imagine they're too far away. So that's going to bring it back to our turn. Deciding what to do this turn. We'll have 6 mana. I'm trying to decide whether if we should scry and draw. Really want to get the Firemane Avenger down. But I think we also need to get Aurelia. I think we're going to be on the slow plan right here. So I'm actually going to scry one because I really don't want to draw another land right now. Yep, there's a land. So put that land to the bottom. So, we're already kind of log jammed on lands. Ooh, we draw into a Skull Clamp. Nice. Oh, yeah. The question right here is go for the red mana tapped? Actually, yeah. Okay. So let's play the Spine Rock Null, set up Aurelia for next turn. It's going to hide away. Though we may need to think about countering Xenagos next turn, too. And we'll see how this goes. Ooh, good stuff under there. Tajik, Master Warcraft, Boros Reckoner, and Ameria Shepherd. Ameria Shepherd's going to be probably the most impactful of the bunch. That is a super good late game card, especially with all the lands we have in hand currently, and Skull Clamp and the ability to draw more, so we'll keep that one. Though it does make me sad to put all those cards to the bottom. That leaves us with 3 open mana. A question what to do with that mana, I think it's going to be Oblivion Ring on Trostani. I really don't want opponents gaining that much life. Ooh, Frontier Siege for the Xenagos. A lot of enchantments coming down this game, worthy of some removal. They go for the cons mode, so they go for the mana ramp mode. The mana ramp on it is very good, but like in the dragons deck, when they go for the fight mode, those dragons are going to be killing all your stuff. So opponent goes on the attack, we get hit by the Captain Lannery Storm, we take 2 damage, go down to 36, and opponent's got 2 treasure tokens in play now. You're going to play a Rurik Armasaur. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of a creature or land that isn't a mana ability, you may draw a card. Interesting. So, opponent's going to tap out and recast their Trostani. Yep. So, slowing them down a turn, costing them a lot of mana, and if that Trostani dies one more time, then you'll be eating a lot of mana up to be able to keep that thing in play, so. Opponent swinging into us with the Wood Elves and the Knight of Autumn. Sure. That's going to bring it back to our turn. Ooh, that's a Soul Ring. Things just got a lot better for us, I think. Play a Plains, cast the Soul Ring, cast Aurelia, cast Skull Clamp, put Skull Clamp on Aurelia. So the great thing about Aurelia is that you can play offense and defense with her, so we have all these small little creatures on board. Aurelia pretty good at blocking them. Opponents will need to do some things if they plan to attack in profitably, so that makes me happy. We're going to attack the Trostani right here. That life gain makes me nervous, so putting some commander damage on them going to be a pretty good idea. So Trostani goes down to 38 commander damage. And if we played the Insult to Injury next turn, we could actually have lethal commander damage on the Trostani. So we may consider that. This Inferno Titan's going to have something to say about it, though. Yep, so Inferno Titan going to shoot Aurelia. We do not draw because Aurelia goes back to the command zone. Bit of a sad face right there. Was not expecting an Inferno Titan. That does leave us wide open for combat again, which is also not ideal. It will take 12 mana to cast Tajnar, get Sunforger, and put Sunforger into play, equipped and ready to go. Ooh, and opponent's going to use the Field of Ruin on our Spine Rock Knoll. That's not great. So losing our Ameria Shepherd to that. We will get a Mountain, however. Opponent's going to populate. No tokens currently. Ooh, that's an Archangel of Thune. Oh, that's really good. That is a really good card. So Archangel triggers the Trostani, which triggers the Archangel. So +1/+1 counter on all the creatures. And now the damage is getting ramped up a little bit. And this is where the lack of a board wipe is going to be not great for us. Opponent sending 2 things in our way. Holding back on the Trostani. Sure. Trying to decide what to do this turn. I don't know if recasting Aurelia doesn't really feel worth it. It'd be 8 mana. Given what's in play, I don't feel like opponents have any artifact or enchantment removal left. That's like the gut feeling I have, but it's tough to say. I'm going to draw no scry. I can't decide what the best plan of action is this turn. Core Cartographer's fine. So we're going to play a Plains, play the Core Cartographer. Also another card that can find the 3 cards I mentioned earlier, Mistveil Plains, Sacred Foundry, and Plateau. So we get a Plains into play. I think I'm going to equip the Skull Clamp onto the Cartographer. It'll make it easy pickings for the Inferno Titan, but they'll have to think about if they really want to give us that much card draw also. A little hesitant on the Firemane Avenger because that can also just be shot down by the Inferno Titan. Might be worth sitting on the... Oh man, I feel like we really need another blocker. If we make a land drop next turn, we can get the Tajnar with an equipped Sunforger. That seems like a pretty good place to be. And if we play the Firemane, then they just shoot it for sure. Maybe they don't. I mean, they're going to have to worry about Trostani at some point. Yeah, I guess we play the Firemane Avenger because we don't have a lot else going on, but it'll give us some amount of blocking and so on and so forth. Maybe we do we equip the... Right now I'm just trying to prevent damage. I'm trying to prevent the damage and slow the game down as much as I can. Sarkhan's Unsealing coming down. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 4, 5, or 6, deals 4 damage to any target. That seems pretty good. Here comes a Ghalta. So creatures with power 7 or greater do 4 damage to each opponent and each creature they control, and each creature and planeswalker they control. That kills our Core Cartographer, takes down some of Trostani's stuff. We draw 2 cards. We get into a True Conviction and a Hammer Dropper. True Conviction, pretty good if we can get some creatures to stick in play, because we're going to be needing to gain some life back really soon. Opponent's going to play a Path to Exile on the Inferno Titan. I was hoping Inferno Titan was going to shoot down the Archangel. That's really, really powerful in that deck. I won't lie to you guys. We're going to have to get a little bit lucky right here. The line of play that I'm looking at right now is True Conviction into Aurelia. And if we go True Conviction, Aurelia with the Skull Clamp, that's actually lethal commander damage on the Trostani, although Trostani not necessarily the concern right now. Xenagos starting to get going. Wouldn't be upset if Trostani just laid down a board wipe, kind of reset everyone. Opponent swings into the Trostani opponent, takes him down to 26. Ooh, gonna play a Chain Reaction. So that's gonna finish off Trostani's stuff. So everything except Ghalta goes down to the Chain Reaction. That's fantastic. That might be a removal spell worth adding to this deck. I'm seeing a clear need for some board wipes right now, and Chain Reaction may be... I have to check the price on it. Comes an Angel of Sanctions, probably going after the Ghalta? Yep, takes down the Ghalta. Excellent. So opponent's firing some removal back and forth, slowing the game down. We get a little bit of card draw off of that Skull Clamp, and that's gonna loom pretty large, I think. That's gonna be really helpful. So Ghalta now exiled under the Angel of Sanctions. What are we doing this turn? We're gonna cast True Conviction. That'll be 6 mana. We have 11 mana currently. No scry, no draw this turn. We draw Mask of Memory, huh? What'd I say, 11 mana? That's 8 plus 3 on Aurelia? Yeah, that's exactly enough to get some card draw going with Aurelia. Perfect. So cast Aurelia, cast Mask of Memory, equip Mask of Memory, go to combat. This time we're going into the Xenagos. I think they need some lovin'. And what that'll do with the combination of Insult to Injury, True Conviction, that means we've got a little bit of damage on each opponent. Next turn, if we don't get our stuff blown up, we can potentially take one or both of them out of the game from that position with all the damage doubling. So we're going to draw with the Mask of Memory. We'll need to discard with the Mask of Memory. Hammer Dropper is probably the worst thing in our hand, Hammer Dropper is definitely the worst thing in our hand, so get rid of that. I was excited about the prospect of mentoring Aurelia, but at this point it's going to be so slow without a haste spell. It's not really going to be very good for us. And we'll go back into the Xenagos one more time. Mask of Memory will trigger again. We get to look at 2 more cards, and now we see a Signet and Gisela. Ooh. We're on turn 8. How much mana do I reason? We're going to get rid of the Signet right here. So Signets kind of lose value as the game goes longer. Especially, let's see. Yeah, everything else in our hand is like pure gas, so getting rid of the Signet for sure. Play the Plains. Sarkhan's Unsealing unfortunately does 4 damage, so that would kill Aurelia anyway, although opponent's definitely going to be looking at this Angel of Sanctions more than our Aurelia, I think. Now by doing that, oh, we're in a bad spot, actually. Opponent can cast Xenagos, shoot the Angel of Sanctions, get Galta back. Oh, I wish I saw this sooner. And then have Galta with Xenagos, and then someone's going to die. And that's unfortunately probably going to be us, because opponent is just short of that being lethal on them. So I am thinking that this is kind of an emergency, so we're going to put the Skull Clamp on Aurelia right here. And we may even send her to the graveyard if things don't go well. Opponent's going to get some mana off the Frontier Siege. I wish I saw that sooner. That's Perforos. Oh, I think it's going to be even worse than we thought. So that's Perforos coming in, which kills the Angel of Sanctions. Galta comes back. So the worst is happening. Now opponent's going to get their choice of who they want to kill. Do they want to go after the Trostani, or do they want to go after us? Perforos going to do 2 damage to each player. Yep, Xenagos triggering on the Galta. Galta does have trample. Who do they want to kill? Probably us, because we have the most in play. Oh, that's huge. Opponent played a Swords to Plowshares on the Galta. That is massive. So Galta down, and Perforos and Xenagos go back into non-creature form. And with that, we might be able to squeak this game out now. If we untap with True Conviction and Insult to Injury, also Gisela, I think we can just take both players out of the game. Now, one thing opponent could have done is they could have waited to see who they were going to attack with the Galta, but then opponent would also gain twice as much life off of that exchange. And I think from their current position, they're probably also thinking that they can't take the Xenagos opponent by themselves right now. Hour of Reckoning, destroy all non-token creatures. Well, Aurelia is going to go down. I don't think we need the card draw. I don't think we need to send her to the graveyard. I feel okay about what's going on at this moment. So Aurelia back to the command zone. That means Xenagos is going to probably get another crack at it, which I don't love. We'll draw. All right, so back to our turn. On our upkeep, we're going to draw. We draw into a mountain. Excellent. Lands are good. Play the mountain. So Gisela's the best thing we have going right here because it essentially negates that doubling damage from Xenagos. Also makes Perforos much less scary to us and significantly more scary to our opponent. So here comes Gisela. We have 6 total mana left, which means we can go True Conviction. I'd rather save the True Conviction and do it more of a surprise thing. What I think I actually want to do is hold up Crush Contraband, and if opponent plays something really nasty that Xenagos would potentially target, then we may hit Xenagos that way. I think disrupting our opponent is going to be the most important right now. And as long as Gisela sticks around and we recast Aurelia, both players should die really easily. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll leave the 4 mana up, put Skull Clamp on Gisela, put Mask of Memory on Gisela, and now we've got a pretty big creature. It's going to be a big target too, but there's been no shortage of removal in this game. I mean, the last couple turns we've been in the position where it's just, if we untap, we kill both opponents. Here comes a Varix Bladewing. That's going to do 4 damage to Gisela. That'll get halved into 2. Here comes the kicker for Varix Bladewing. That's going to trigger Perforos twice. So 1 damage to us, 2 to our opponent. Actually, 4 to our opponent. Wow. So Trostani down to 12. Opponent's going to Xenagos something. It's going to Xenagos the Varix. Varix will come in for 8. It'll get reduced to 4. I actually don't care that much. Probably should have been a little bit earlier on the Crush Contraband, but... All right, well, in that case, so we'll exile their Skull Clamp, and then we'll exile the Xenagos. Do we want Xenagos or Perforos? Xenagos they'll have to recast, which they've only cast Xenagos once. 3, 4, 5, 6. They'll have 8 mana next turn on their Frontier Siege, although we probably just kill them. I say Xenagos. And that also unanimates Perforos. Perfect. So, Gisela has First Strike, so... Yeah. Forgot about the First Strike half of Gisela because she gets into combat with other creatures so rarely. So this will do 12 First Strike and take down the Varix. So Varix down. Opponent gets a little more mana. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the power of Gisela. It is so difficult to attack into a Gisela opponent profitably. Sakura Tribe-Elder for the... That's not them blowing up our stuff. That's all I really care about at this point. That's going to bring it back to our turn. We are in a very good place to win this game. Take a quick peek at our opponent's graveyard. We draw an Armillary Sphere. They've used Swords to Plowshares. They've used Path to Exile, so both of the white instant spells from Trostani are gone. They could have something like a Comeuppance, which would be terrible. Although, if we play Insult to Injury, that would negate the Comeuppance. There's something to think about. No way to get Odric down with haste currently. One thing we're missing in the equipment department is Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots, both a little too expensive for the deck. Would not mind some Swiftfoot Boots right now, because if we could attack unblockable with Odric, that would be pretty good. How do we get rid of this token? This token's kind of standing in the way of victory at the moment. How much is Aurelia? Aurelia is going to be, a lot. That's 10. 10 for Aurelia. Maybe we just go for the True Conviction. Yeah, let's go for the True Conviction. Get the light. Then opponent. Oh, I got it. All right. How much mana? We have 12 mana. So we go True Conviction, Insult to Injury. That'll take care of the Xenagos opponent. So play Insult. This also deals with things like Comeuppance, various fog effects. Oh, one thing I forgot to think about. Currently, Gisela will be doing 24 damage. With True Conviction, she'll be doing... Well, we'll gain so much life back that it shouldn't be an issue. So, yeah. Finish up our plan right here. Don't know if this will be exactly lethal on Xenagos, but... it will be after the damage effect. Yeah, here we go. All right. So that's double damage. That's going to be 8 damage to Karox and 8 damage to the player. Now we got lethal. Play True Conviction. Attack the Xenagos player. So they're at 44. They go to 20. Mask of Memory triggers. Discard the Armillary Sphere. And -4. So all the way from 52 to -4. Mask of Memory triggers again. Opponent's going to crack their Sakura. Sure. We draw Lightning Helix and a Plains. Did we play a land already? I don't think we did. So I'm going to actually... Oh, it makes me sad. I'm going to discard the Thran Dynamo, actually. I want both of these lands just in case things go wrong. But I think we can Lightning Helix for the win right here with all those damage doubling effects. So play the Plains. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You're about to see opponents at 12. Damage can't be prevented. And they go to 0. That's a 12 damage Lightning Helix right there. So, awkward game because of the early scoop, but still a lot of fun happening in that game. A lot of powerful exchanges. Note, we were playing a budget deck against decks with no restrictions, and we were able to squeak our way out the other side. Took some decent piloting, took a little bit of luck. Won't lie to you there. Our opponent having removal on that Ghalta was huge, because Ghalta was probably going to kill us otherwise. Sometimes you just get a little bit lucky, so... Can't complain about that. One thought that I have, Chain Reaction's actually cheap enough. I think that might be a worthwhile include in the deck as some removal. I'm starting to think that maybe the way that I've got this deck built, because it's not particularly fast, is maybe it's just more of a control deck, and we play a ton of board wipes and just kind of focus on the late half of stuff. I'll have to think about that more. Maybe our hand was just a little bit awkward. We got kind of out of sequence on our mana and mana rocks, the way that casting costs and things were lining up. Based on what we had. Also, we were sitting on Insult to Injury all game, which is like, it's a late game card. That's not a card you really want on turn 1. Ideally, we would have gotten the Firemane Avenger down much sooner than we did, but couldn't do much about that. By that point, it was Inferno Titan time, and that was kind of an issue, so... yeah, we'll see. But yeah, we'll see. So Chain Reaction is a card that I'm going to look to work into the deck. I'm going to see if there's any other like really budget-friendly board wipes we can get in here as well, because in a game like that, you could see where sometimes you just need a little bit of removal. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.